I think it would have. All right, guys, we are getting into graph Bumbling Bees with the first ban, and it will be Goodbye Illidan. And Matt, what are the chances that the other pointy-eared fellow will be banned as well? Yep.
Well, before I even got a chance to sarcastically answer that with the words "Kale Toss,"
Yep.
it has happened
100%.
already. We knew that was coming. If you generally if a team has first pick, they're not going to ban KT with anticipation that the other team will. So sometimes it's almost a decision they make to force it. They want you to waste a ban on KT.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't even want to pick it. They just were like, well, let's just not ban it so they will.
Well, that makes sense, right? Because if you don't ban it, then you, like you said, you're basically forcing them to ban it. Because if they don't, you have first pick, so you can snatch that up. And
Yeah.
since this is in a drafting website and not in the client, you can do it in whatever order you want to. So it's not
Wow.
not a huge deal. So Sonya, bam, right off the bat,
Wow.
very aggressive first pick by Bumbling Bees.
That might tell you what direction they want to go right away. They may be giving some hints as to what kind of composition they want to make. So with Sonya on your team, you know that you're going to be following that up with some supports that can stay with you, or with some more front line to join you. We're still going to see a heavy tank from them. So the Bumbling Bees doing the first pick Sonya. Interesting.
So I really like Rhaegar paired with Sonya. You can
Yes.
The ancestral works very well to keep you very aggressive. The lightning shield works very well because Sonya is going to be in your face. Leftovers are going to grab up Li Ming real fast. Not a huge surprise. She's basically the next best thing to a Kael'thas that you can get. But the question is, do the leftovers take Rhaegar away right now, or do they let that slip through?
They have to know with the Sonya first pick that if they don't grab it here, it's gone. Whether it's going to be taken through the next set of picks, or I guess they'll have a chance later, but it's not going to be there. So
It's either going to get picked by them, and there it is. Okay, so
there it
that's
is.
very smart of them to do. That takes that Rhaegar away from Sonya. Uther is not a bad pairing with Sonya either because D Shield can be very strong with her, especially on initiation. But it's
Absolutely.
not quite like that Rhaegar.
Yeah, I do agree. The Rhaegar has the better cooldowns to assist her, but I do hope that they're probably not going to pick up the support right now. I think they have a couple options there with what direction they would go. So they'll probably here grab obviously one of the specialists is my next guess. So I think we're going to see a Zool here, possibly a Zagara, something to sit on the bottom lane. And Zagara, I do think. Yes, there, and as I was
Yep.
about to say, it is the
Yep.
better pick. You can get the vision there on the bottom chest on the turn in, and that's huge
Yeah.
for Blackheart's Bay,
No,
especially
Vision
when you
is
know the count.
gigantic for this map. This Blackhearts and Tomb of the Spider Queen are some of Zagar's best maps because there's a turn-in objectives, and whenever you have turn-in
Yeah,
objectives, Vision is just gives you such a huge advantage. I would be very
yeah.
surprised if Bumbling Bees didn't pick their support here because otherwise they'll get a chance.
You think
And
so?
so they grab Greymane. So now Leftovers has a chance
Wow.
to ban that Uther out and shrink the support pool even more for Bumbling Bees.
Yeah, I feel like you're right that the Greymane probably could have waited. I don't think. Well, I mean, they do have a burst combo over at the left too, so maybe they
And
were
there it is.
thinking at this point. And you called the Uther ban.
Yeah. So that
Yeah, you
this is
called
really
it just like you
smart.
saw it.
This is really
So, very
smart
good.
from the Leftovers to do this because that denies now what is probably considered the second best heals. He's very high pick rate after Rhaegar. It denies that D shield for Sonya, which is very powerful. And so now they're gonna have to step down into the next tier of healers to find it, and it might just not synergize as well as that Uther could have.
Sure. And I'm sorry if I got a little bit of a lag spike. I noticed a little bit of latency on my end, but nothing I can really do at this point. Just ride the wave. And then we got the Thrall ban out too, so which I thought would have been a good pickup here because it is a good laning bully against a Zagara. It does a nice job of kind of sitting bottom and keeping her at bay for the most part. And they do ban that out. So I think that's a good ban by the Bumbling Bees. And that was probably a pick that the Leftovers were looking to take.
Yeah. There's still a few things. If you're gonna lane against that Zagara, you need some form of sustain. Sonya is actually really good laning against Zagara, but since they took it, that takes that off the table. Zool is not bad though. Zool Zool can't poke. Zagari's gonna over poke Zool more than he can really push, but the extra minions he creates can kind of help balance that lane, as well as his sweeping strikes to clear stuff up real fast. So that's probably who they'll put against Zagara.
And then no surprise here. The Falstad is that the last range DPS for the leftovers. I'm surprised it wasn't picked up sooner. I would argue maybe that if Bumbling Bees were going to take a DPS, they might have or should have taken the Falstad instead of the Greymane. But again, that's something that we'll see how it plays out. But I was expecting Falstad to come off a little sooner than he did, but absolutely should be in this game and great on this map.
Yeah, the global presence is big, but it's compounded even more so with the larger maps. Just being able to get exactly where you want to get very quickly. Bumbling Bees goes ahead and picks up Karazim. So with Uther and Rhaegar off the table, Karazim is probably the next best thing you can do. I assume with this comp we'll probably see a Divine Palm just for that Sonya. It's not quite the same as an Ancestral is, but it should be decent for them.
Yeah, it just kind of went down the checklist. Right? Divine Shield, that's our preference. Okay, no, none of that. All right, I guess we could do with Ancestral. Oh, okay, that's gone too. All right, Divine Palm it is. So
Yeah.
as they moved down the list, they kind of had to settle, but we almost called it right away that they were going to pick a support that was going to hang with that Sonya. There's the Johanna to finish it off as well. I think that's a nice cherry on top for that composition.
Yeah.
I think that
I like it.
they need something to kind of run shoulder by shoulder next to that Sonya into the fights, and then be able also to kind of peel back when the Karazim or the Greymane need to pull out of there as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Johanna as a tank. It is a little surprising they left the Muradin and opted for the Johanna instead. She does have very good lane clear if you spec into it. So overall, though, I feel like Leftovers got the comp they were wanting more so than Bumbling Bees did.
Yeah, I think looking at it now, and I mean, I said it early, I think the Sonya may have been a little early, just a little bit.
And the Greymane was probably a little early as well.
Well, we may be completely right or we may be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Man, I am lagging all over the place.
Your poor internet.
I know. I don't know. Everything has to fall apart right now. All the things.
Shame on it.
So either way, well, I think that like you said, that the Leftovers ended up kind of maybe coming out a little bit on top here with regards to the picks. Got the team that they wanted. They've got a lot of burst. They've got a lot of front line that it's hard to break down. I mean, Muradin is, like you said, one of the top tanks in the game. And the Rhaegar is going to make him even harder to kill throughout the length of the game. So they're going to see how they deal with it. But if there's one type of comp that can break it down, it's one that's got an equally good front line, a lot of sustain, and good poke in the back. Good burst as well with Greymane. So, I mean, both have burst, both have some poke. It's going to be a pretty balanced match like I was hoping from the start.
I think a lot of it's going to depend how well Zagara can land her Maz. That's going to be a huge impact for this team, for that Johanna and that Sonya and that Greymane just to get right in there as soon as that Maz over.
All right.
Loading.
One thing about Blackheart's Bay that I always enjoy as a spectator is seeing which strategy the teams choose to implore, because there's so many different ways I feel like to play this map effectively. I know it all comes down to coins and turn-ins, but it's just kind of like I like to see the team's approaches to how they want to collect those coins, how they want to manage the early laning phase, and how they manage the movement between the top and the middle lane within the first 2 minutes.
And who has the better team fight at the eye?
Yeah, I was hoping that we get that, like that Braveheart battle at the eye at the smiley face.
It's a horrible idea, but it's so much fun.
That's a reason I pick Stitches so much on this map, especially when I'm playing it's like randoms, is just to run to the eye as fast as I can and get a quick hook, because somebody's going to be in that bush. I don't know who it is, and that hook's a flying, but Someone's
It's
going
going
to
to
be in
be
that list.
somebody. Yeah, exactly. All right, so on the Bumbling Bees, we have Tony Cheese on Zagara, Jyfree on Karazim, Paranormalacy on Sonya, Asuni on Greymane, and Brittany on Johanna.
And for the bumbling bees, I'm sorry, the
The
leftovers.
leftovers.
The leftovers. We've got Juice on the Falstad. We've got Li Ming, played by Phil's My Muffin. Afridi will be on the Muradin. Mongoose is going to be on the Rhaegar. And then we've got Hai Bichu on the Zul. Here we go. Here's our battle at the middle, just like we wanted.
Both Zul and Zagara have just gone bottom lane and are just kind of chilling. Zul's got the Bone Prison. Zagara
They
taking
are
quite a bit of
fighting
damage,
early.
actually.
Yeah, that's it's odd how quickly before the creeps even meet, they're like, let's go toe to toe and see if we can make each other drink our wells, and they do.
Whereas everyone else, there wasn't a huge battle. It was just more of a kind of a dance around. Looks like we're gonna see 4-man switch between lanes. Ferdy taking quite a bit of damage from Jyfree. There's Karazim, and treasure chests have spawned.
They are out. They are loose. Zagara has control of the bottom chest, and it looks like the Bumbling Bees do have control of the top chest, except for the fight is coming out here now. And down goes the Greymane. Really just good focus there on the job of the leftovers. Good focus and good stun there from Muradin to finish it off. And they're still just poking him down with the Li Ming damage.
Wow.
I'm not sure that they were ready for that much poke. And I mean, I guess they should have been, but they just kind of kept yo-yoing back into range, and Li Ming was able to just keep peppering them. And now the control has gone in favor of the leftovers.
Well, that's the nice thing about the leftovers comp, right? And Paranormality just taking so much damage, dwarf toss in by Afridi to help secure that kill. And that's the thing about this comp. The poke is real on the side of the leftovers. You got Falstad and Li Ming just doing so much. You don't have hardly any poke on the side of Bumbling Bees. You've got a little bit of Greymane, and then you've got Zagara, but Zagara is down bottom. And honestly, she's doing a really good job against the Zul. Falstad's actually going to fly down just to kind of help him out a little bit. But, yeah, the poke comp is definitely in favor of the leftovers.
Yeah, and just taking a quick look at talents, you can see that Falstad, it looks like, is going the Hammering build or Magestad, most likely. So that is going to work out well with that, with the poking from the Li Ming. So we'll be probably more distance for the Falstad, a little safer positioning with the build he's going. So really going to focus more on the poke and the safety.
Looks like we're getting actually Eyes in the Dark from Greymane. That's
Interesting.
stealth. Yeah.
I have seen a player on my team who plays Greymane. He does pick it up from time to time. He finds that it allows him to flank mid-team fight a lot better. The problem is, though, depends on who you're playing against. You know, if you leap away and go into that stealth thinking you have safety, and there's someone like Joanne on the other side that can just quickly, blind you and pull you out, then it doesn't have the same value. But we'll see how it works out for him this game.
I love Mongoose down bottom, getting brazen, stealing the coin camps. Tony is trying to turn in. I don't know if Mongoose is not going to quite make it in time, so Zagara does manage to get rid of her 5 coins there. Rhaegar down bottom using the lightning shield to clear out the creep. Very, very good idea. Keeping the creep to a minimum for the leftovers is going to be absolutely key to keep that map control.
And they're doing a great job of that so far. If you look, I mean, she's really been pretty shut down on the placement of where her creep is. And that is not something that you want to see with the Zagara on your team. You want to be able to at least have your part of the map covered. But like you said, Rhaegar crossing over, getting the doubloon camp, and also clearing out creep on his way. Very, very good job by the Rhaegar there.
And not only that, several members of Leftovers have a good job. Zul can clear creep with his scythe. Greymane with a nice jump on Asuni, giving him so much damage. Juice a little in trouble, but the stun coming out. Jyfree has to dash over, but they are going to claim the coins. Really good job by the Bumbling Beast to take control of that fight and look for the gank.
They got to be careful of the poke. They don't want to get too far out there and cocky after that. I mean, right now the Leftovers are still down 1. Their 5th player, Zul, is on his way back. He's returning. And they lose Li Ming there, just being a little bit out of position. And if Murden's not careful, he will go down too, dropping 6 coins. Juice is able to pick up a lot of them that fell, but if he's not careful, he'll go down himself. And right now, Zul is chasing just with those strikes, finishing off the Karazim there, but really still going in favor of the Bumbling Bees, no question. And really well played. And the turn-in is for them. They did a great job, too, of doing damage to this tower here in the middle in the gate, and it looks like this first set of cannons, it'll be close. It may actually finish off the fort. Actually, it'll be a little short. I'm sorry. I thought they'd done a little more damage.
Zagara on bottom did a really good job to grab that mercenary camp very quickly. Nice stun, though, by Afridi to end up finishing Zagara off, even with all that creep, the fly-in from Falstad and the Dwarf Toss. Creep was no match for it.
Absolutely, and the thing right there, at least for the Murden, is that he went piercing bolt. So even if she did hunter killer, or if she dropped her roachlings, the bolt will still penetrate and get the stun off there. So that's a really good talent choice, especially against any type of character that builds creeps or spawns anything in front of it. So I like that choice there.
We got Mongoose now in the middle, completely uncontested, a full 10-coin turn-in. Unfortunately, he's kind of running the wrong way. Greymane and Zagara found him.
Isn't that the glory of Rhaegar, though?
Team. It is the glory of Rhaegar. Rhaegar OP, man.
He's just playing his own game right now, isn't he, brother?
That's
He's
right.
just clearing creep, turning coins, picking up the bloom camps, doing whatever he can to stun on the Zagara here. And if Falstad and Murden, they're not going to have enough there. And the poke from Li Ming on the 2 people coming in to try to help out, but that was really close there. The Zagara almost fell to that Murden Falstad.
Yeah, Li Ming poke is real. You have to be so careful as a team with those orbs coming in, because especially towards the end of them, those things have a massive radius. And I mean, just look at that, just so much health just chunked off from getting hit by the orbs. Leftovers trying to pick up these knights, but unfortunately Johanna is coming in. They know what they're up against. Really good job blocking, but 10 is out, the Maw is out, a beautiful Maw, 3 members, and the Leftovers are just getting wrecked.
Wow, a 3-person Maw, and the follow-up there pretty much cannot be any better. I almost think now looking at it is they took Joe as a follow-up to the Maw.
Yep. And
that is going to keep them clumped up just long enough for Greymane to leap in and get his burst off, or for Sonya to come in and get one of her ult or her clap off. Wow, just really great job there.
And not only that, you've got Greymane, you've got Go for the Throat. So Go for the Throat technically should be able to finish off 2 low people after the Maw, after the Condemn, and even a Blessed Shield follow-up.
I'm surprised to see the Divine Palm. I'm sorry. We're not surprised to see the Divine Palm here. We did talk about that. We expected to see that. But I am also excited to see that Sonya did end up going Wrath of the Berserker. I feel like that you can do like kind of a leap to follow up to the Maw or some chase down, but right now you just want that extra damage, that extra burst out of your Sonya, especially right out of that Maw if you can get it off.
Yeah.
Have them all clumped up together.
Because Bumbling Bees have to be aggressive, right? They do not have a poke comp, which means they have to be very aggressive. They can't hang back. They have to go in and go in really strong. And that's, and honestly, Sonya and Greymane are both very good at that, but they'll lose the poke game every time, so they can't just wait around for their enemies.
And yeah, right now the teams are just waiting for their opportunity. It looks like the Bumbling Bees are headed over to a turn-in possibly at this point. Looks like they want to go ahead and get that, and not really anyone there from the Leftovers to contest at this point.
Yeah, they're pulling around, but I don't think it'll be quite in time. We've got Creep there, so they see they're coming in. And right now, the Bumbling Bees are in a really good situation. They're two levels up. They're a talent tier up. Nice Bone Prison onto Sonya to keep her from going in right away. Zul Poison Nova goes out, hits several people. The Ancestral goes out onto Zul, and Sonya is taking a lot of damage. The Palm is procced, though. The Maw is out, and this is horrible for the Leftovers.
And all things considered, I mean, they ended up really almost getting a few kills, but 4 down in favor of the Bumbling Bees. The Leftovers really with just Rhaegar up, trying to get some soak in that bottom lane and keep a hold of the 6 coin that he has with him. But absolutely huge team fight there in favor of the Bumbling Bees.
the very unfortunate thing is too, chests just spawn. So that's 10, basically 10 free coins going to the Bumbling Bees. And not only that, it was just really unfortunate for the leftovers because they were fighting a talent tier down in that fight, and they were doing very well. I think the turning point came from when that palm ended up being procced, and
Right.
Sonya was able to go back in full strength, and that's real. And then the follow up, because she was there, the follow up to the Maw was just too much. Another nice 2-man Maw, and that's something really good to point out. As Zagara, you don't need to do 5-man Maws. Like, you don't have to. If you can get 2 or 3 people, you can just set your team up for such a good position to just crush the enemy team as soon as they get out.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, both teams just trying to keep on their side of the map, trying to keep control of the vision here for the leftovers. And the Bumbling Bees kind of spreading out in the formation, kind of split up a little bit. Greymane up top lane, Brittany grabbing the vision here, and the orb just missing her from Li Ming. So just kind of a tug of war back and forth here with the vision. Teams clearing out both the lanes, top and middle.
Leftovers
Now that-
are on the same talent tier, but only for a moment. We've got
was gonna
almost
say.
a 3-level lead on the side of Bumbling Bees, and they're about to go another talent tier over.
You know, and it is a 3-level lead, and that is a lot. But I do think, to give credit right here to the leftovers, considering that it is a 3-level lead, and they did fight that last fight a talent tier down. They're playing pretty well. But we do have the talents now coming out on the side of Bumbling Bees. Obviously, Zagara going with Brood Expansion, nothing new there. And Nerves of Steel picked up by the Sonya, so she wants to get in there and stay in there. And I'm surprised with the pickup, or I'm not surprised with the pickup there from Johanna, Imposing Presence.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of strong auto attack, especially in the form of that Falstad. So slowing down some of that auto attack will be good.
And even the Zool, too.
Yeah,
If the
the Zool,
Zool
too.
chooses him as a target, you can almost nerf his curse strikes quite a bit. So
Another
Alright,
turn
so-
in, and this is the problem with Blackheart's Bay, right, Matt? Once you gain control of the map, you can pretty much just PvE your way to victory if you play safe.
especially when you win those team fights like you did. I mean, there's a large number of kills here in favor of the leftovers. And like you said, not only have they kept control of the turn-in of the coin, they've also kept control of the team fight. And the last team fight specifically happened closer to the leftovers base. So that just shows you the map control that they have at this moment.
Yeah, just looking at this, they're grabbing Merc camps right now. They're waiting for the turn. They have so much vision now. And, I mean, leftovers trying to clear as much creep as they can. But when you get on the back foot like this, creep clearing ends up becoming secondary because you're just trying to get objectives. And this really will allow Tony Cheese to spread that vision all over the map.
And Afridi here trying to come to the turn and maybe clear off some of the vision from Zakara, but just kind of gave up. Or, all right, now he's going to find it. There it is. So he did take the Burning Rage there to deal with that, which I think is the right call. I think you kind of have to do that, unfortunately, with Murden. If there's ever Zagara in your game, you're basically going Burning Rage and taking the boss up here for Bumbling Bees, and no one from the leftovers is even close.
Yeah, no, this is a really, really good call by the Bumbling Bees because they saw the creep getting destroyed at the turn-in point. They're just like, okay, we'll give you guys a turn-in. We still got 2 forts up. We're going to get the boss and push your top keep.
That's the best part about creep is that you have to deal with it, and while you deal with it, you're letting us know where you are. So it's just such an quick cooldown on to lay that creep all over put those tumors all over the ground. But yeah, it also lets you know when they go to clear it. So big team fight breaking out here. Afridi getting a little bit of damage here, but he'll probably end up backing up shortly, leaping out before too long. And wow, all the way down, and the Ancestral coming out to top him back off. But at this point, a 2-person maw. This is going to be in favor of the Bumbling Bees. And let's see if they can capitalize out of the maw, and they do not.
So we have
Poison Nova coming out.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it ended up hitting a few people. The boss still at about half health. The keep goes down, but the leftovers did hit that very crucial level 16 talent. And because of that, oh no, Li Ming! Oh no, Li Ming was caught in the root. And the boss ends up killing her. That's a huge blow to them. at this point in the game.
Well, if nothing else, let's just call that a morale hit for the team at this point. And the Bumbling Bees are going to take no time in not noticing that. They're going to come right in. They know they're one down this close into base with the Bruiser camp behind them. So they try to put some pressure and then decide to back off themselves, maybe erring on the side of caution, saying, chests are up.
Yeah,
look at all these doubloon camps. Look at all these mercs. Let's get back.
They don't need to push right here, and that is a fantastic call by them. They have mercs on their core, or they have minions on their core right now. They're getting a free 10 coins. This is going to give them enough for a turn-in. This will take out the Leftovers' last keep, or at least very, very close to it.
Looks
and then
like it, yeah.
there's just going to be so much lane pressure, it's going to be hard to deal with.
And they're going to get the turn in here. I mean, they're getting a little bit of damage on Greymane, but he's almost acting as a distraction so they don't get to them and zoning them out very well. And a little bit of a fight is breaking out, but very cautious on the side of the Bumbling Bees. Almost thinking, we don't want to take this, guys. Let's just get back. An aggressive gust comes in, trying to get him back, and it really does, but it comes out in Falstad's favor, not really helping out him very much. He falls. On the same time, the Greymane does go down, and the Ancestral coming out on the Falstad. Poison Nova coming out from the Zool, so a lot of damage here as they try to back up. Jyfree trying to get the leap off, not a lot of distance there. And Joe does not have Iron Skin up, or she does. Very good.
Just in time for the
wow.
prison.
That was...
I am so impressed by the Bumbling Bees that only one person died there. Like that is a feat. Not to take away, it's this is exactly what the Leftovers needed, right? They needed that kill so bad, but unfortunately, it doesn't get them much because they don't have any coins to turn in, and they all have to go back and just push their lanes out.
And there's one thing that I'm seeing
rough.
here. Yeah, do you notice that Zool's ultimate is very powerful, but if the team even has a 1 or 2 level advantage, it almost is minuscule. I'm just seeing that like when the teams are on par and the Zool ult comes out, that damage seems to be a lot more of a problem to deal with. And right there, with the 2 level advantage, the Poison Nova was a nuisance, but it by no means turned the fight for them. So it's something I'm keeping track of in my head with Zool, but maybe I might be reading into that wrong. Could just be bias here for this game.
All right, so Leftovers are spotting them out. They're coming down. About to hit level 20. The Bumbling Bees are about to hit level 20, so Leftovers are going to have to be very careful with this engage. Bone Prison going down on Tagara, but she was able to get back in time. Disintegration coming out from Li Ming. They're going to try and push this as much as they can. Level 20, though, just seconds away for the Bumbling Bees, and this is it. And Leftovers really can't fight this anymore. And
Leftovers
Bees are going to get a turn in.
My bad. Excuse me, brother. But yeah, just Leftovers. They felt the fuse burning, like you were saying. They knew that they had this very small window to be aggressive. You saw it. The second that 20 dinged, they were out. We're back. Good call, though.
Ma goes out, does not actually hit anybody. Nice Bow's Prison onto Tony Cheese, but unfortunately, you cannot stop the cannonballs from coming, and this keep is in big trouble.
Li Ming did get knocked off the mount, but is probably going to be able to get away. But Zool, I do not know why he ran back in that direction. He could have just hearthed very well from a vent below and a disengaged gust, keeping everybody alive for the Leftovers. That was a close call. With these cannonballs coming in, if they would have lost even one person, that probably was game. So really good job there by the Rhaegar, keeping the Zool alive with the clutch Ancestral. And Zool, with high beat you on that, he should have probably just hearthed back and gone down to a vent. So.
Yeah, and also huge props to Juice. That was a very timely gust to completely discourage the engage even afterwards coming in. And the keep survives. Everybody on the Leftovers survives. The game is not over yet. They're only half a level away from 20. And at this point, both teams have decent entrance in. I mean, at this point, the death timers are long enough that you can kill a keep and the core before the team can respawn. Unfortunately, Highbeat caught a little out of position. He does manage to get the Bone Prison off. Another beautiful gust by Juice, but he might pay for it with his life. Barrel roll goes in. Afridi just trying to peel for his team as much as possible, but unfortunately Falstad falls, and Leftovers are in big trouble.
And leftovers trying to fight it out here, trying to survive as long as they can. But the momentum is absolutely in favor of the Bumbling Bees. But look at this. Bumbling Bees know they're one down. They've got coins in their pocket. They know the chests are up again, so they make the right call. So good on them. Even with the advantage, or with it being even right now, with both them having one hero down, they decide to go back and play it safe. Get these last 20 coins, turn them in, and move on. Because that keep is gone bottom.
This is exactly what they need to do. This one more turn in will win the game for them. Like the core will die to a turn in. So
yep.
Right now, leftovers basically just have to watch the turn in like a hawk.
And you see them kind of setting up here, but they know they're one down, but they still want to get in the vent. But they're only, weird. Mongoose is keeping that one coin on him for whatever reason. It's not going to make or break anything, but they do want to stay near that, like you said. It looks like they're going to go up top, try to get a couple doubloon camps, keep the momentum going in that lane, try to keep their, I guess, I don't know why you would leave that at this point, because right now, High beat you all by himself. Here comes 4 people for the turn-in. He'll do his best to hold him off, but it's going to cost him his life, and there it goes.
Yeah, and just because of that, you're going to be fighting a man down now. If they can stay back and poke, they'll be in a decent situation. A Storm Shield was popped. Maw goes out and doesn't hit anybody.
Maw.
Another beautiful Ancestral. Mongoose getting extremely low, though. Gus comes out to disengage, and the poke is doing a really good job, Matt.
It really is, and surprisingly, even with one down, they're doing a good job. But if you look, everyone's at half health, and no one's really being finished. They got to get a good stun here from Murden and finish this kill on this Sonya right now. And a Divine Palm coming out, but it's not going to trigger. And just another good disengage in the middle of that fight, and Falstad flying right back to base to stop the catapults and stop the siege that is now hitting the shield. But no damage is going to come off the core, so the shield will regen back up. No harm done. And
huge defense by the leftovers. That was, really good job by them. The problem is they're playing a losing game of attrition right now. The 3 lanes pushing will eventually overwhelm that core and cause them to go back, and Bumbling Bees knows it. And so they can afford to wait. They can afford to be aggressive and keep them off of that. And unfortunately, Rhaegar falls, Afridi super low, and Asuni is going to get away. Muradin goes down. Juice is unfortunately going to go down, and unfortunately, Matt, I think this is going to be game.
I think High Beat You's coming in saying, YOLO, Poison Nova here. I'm coming through, dropping my cooldowns. He knows the game's over. I think you said it best. It was a war of attrition right there at the end. The Falstad had no choice but to fly back. The Li Ming was on her way back from her.
We're 32% already before the cannonballs even start, just because the waves are pushing down, and the Winions, Matt.
The Winions.
The Winions.
They bring the pain. Those catapults can wreck your core if you're not keeping your eye on it. So.
Especially with 3 lanes of catapults coming down.
Yeah, that was a great showing for the Bumbling Bees. They kept control of the map the entire time. They had the coin advantage. They had the level advantage. And in most cases, they had map control. So just really well played on the part of the Bumbling Bees.
And honestly, I know I said at the beginning of the game that I like the comp of the leftovers better, but I put a little asterisk next to it, and I said it all depends on how that Zagara lands her Maws. And Tony landed all the Maws. There was 1 or 2 misses, but all the Maws that counted, he landed, and there were just massive, massive team wipes, or close to team wipes, on the side of the leftovers because of those Maws, and those really ended up turning the game a lot for the Bumbling Bees, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, I think something we dismissed in the draft anyway is the follow-up to the Maw. So Tony Cheese did a great job of landing his Maws, but his team was there in comp to follow him up. And I think that's really a nice thing about the Karazim is you can kind of pile up on top of the Maw and still get heals on everyone and still be dishing out damage while tossing those little top-offs there. But very good game for Bumbling Bees. They showed up well, and they take a game from the leftovers. Yeah. So I know that these teams were pretty close in the ranking, so Bumbling Bees is going to shoot up a little bit in Division 1, and our friends the leftovers will be dropping down just a smidge.
Yeah. I do want to give props to the leftovers, though. They did a very good job at defense when it was needed. Unfortunately, by the time they really were able to mount that defense, the damage had been done. And there was just not a lot they could do. Again, that attrition is just such a big thing in Blackheart's Bay. When you get behind so many forts and you just have that looming, Blackheart turn in just hanging over your head, it's just a slow battle of, okay, when is the other team going to get enough coins for this?
Yeah, and it forces your team to make those poor decisions. Like at the very end, for example, like Zool, or I'm sorry, it was before that fight started. Zool, I think Zool started that fight early, if we remember. Yeah, that's right. Is that at the very beginning of that last turn in, that last big fight that happened, Zool was the one that had to go in to disrupt, because if that turn in finished, he knew dang well that
Yeah.
that was game over. So that forced him to win, die, and then his team now has to fight 4 versus 5 that entire time. So again, just to go to your point, it does make you play differently when you're in that war of attrition, and those cannonballs are flying over your head. You've got to make almost bad decisions to prevent them from doing something, which again is a huge reason I hate that map. So
Yeah,
I'm glad to be able to
rough
not play
map
it.
to fall behind on.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it really
yeah,
is.
totally.
But
So that was a good game though.
yeah, it was a good game. GG to the Bumbling Bees, very well played. But I want to give one more huge shout out. Juice on that Falstad, landing those gusts.
That's true. If there's an
Like,
MVP for them, no question. That disengaged bottom. I think you're about to
yeah,
say it, right?
that was so perfectly executed, and that honestly could have ended the game much faster if that hadn't happened.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was it. I think we had mentioned that if they would have finished that team fight, that would have been the end of
Yeah, that would have been done.
So,
great
oh
job.
man.
Leftovers had some really good plays, but unfortunately just couldn't end up pulling it out. Well, guys,